Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. Today on the podcast, you don't know what you don't know. And this applies to employees and employers in the coffee industry. Too often in this industry, we hide behind the veil of not wanting anyone to know that we don't know what we're talking about. And look, I'm sure that there are a vast majority of the people that listen to this podcast that wonder why I talk about this stuff and why I'm the only person talking about this stuff. And I'm sure there are people out there that think that I'm quite negative for talking about this stuff. It's not that I'm a negative person, which I'm really not. I usually err on the side of being a more positive and hopeful person. I'm just a realist, and I think that this is a part of our industry that we could do with some work on. We are, as an industry, not required to really know anything about the jobs that we're stepping into before we step into them. And the reason is because there are no kinds of certifications or qualifications that are mandatory for us to do our jobs like there is for, say, a doctor or a lawyer or a sports therapist, etc., etc. You can step into a job, and at times you don't even have to know the language that well in order of the community that you're working in order to step into them. So the barrier to entry is very low for our industry. Having said that, we're also an industry that employs incredibly intelligent people. And so with that, we begin a journey of trying to figure out what it is we don't know. And typically, we look for people who we can relate to give us that information. Equally in this industry, we seem to attract a certain kind of insecure person. I speak from experience. Me being one of those kinds of people at the beginning of my career, and having watched this industry over the 20 years that I've been in it, that hasn't changed. We still today attract a certain kind of person into our industry in the same way that we attracted that same kind of person 20 years ago. And in general, I don't even know the name of the kind of insecure, but when you look around, and if you have been in the industry long enough, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And now, when you put these two things together, where we have people who come into this industry that are looking for somewhere to belong, and we don't have clear-cut boundaries around what's the right way to do what we do, and you add to that the barrier to entry for small business ownership is super low, what you end up with is a whole bunch of we don't know what we don't know. And we become tribal. We're drawn to certain people to teach us what it is they know and impart their knowledge onto us. And we're drawn to those people because we either like their branding, or we want to be in with the cool kids, or because we respect their knowledge, or because this person's more scientific based, whatever it is. We're all drawn to people for our own reasons. But if we do remain tribal and we start to defend that knowledge base based on protecting the tribe that we belong to, what we're doing is we're closing ourselves off to what it is we don't know. The opposite of that would be, I'm going to keep my mind open to learning from a bunch of different things and different resources, and I'm going to challenge that information based on my own critical thinking. So it requires you to learn how to be a critical thinker, and it requires you to be open-minded. Two very, very valuable life skills. Now, if you are able to start approaching your coffee career and your coffee small business in those ways, all of the sudden, all the things that you don't know no longer threaten you. When somebody presents you with a new brewing technique, you approach that as, oh, I wonder what I could learn from this. I wonder if it actually does taste better. As opposed to, nah, I cannot open my mind to this because it challenges the things that I've already dedicated my reputation on, and I'm going to die on this hill, protecting this piece of knowledge I already have. Now, we have a lot of this in our industry when it comes to a whole bunch of stuff. When it comes to green coffee, when it comes to processing methods, when it comes to brewing methods, when it comes to equipment, when it comes to brands, all of this stuff. I would encourage you to be loyal to the philosophy of critical thinking and open-mindedness rather than to be loyal, staunchly loyal to a brand. If we can move towards the idea of being curious as opposed to being loyal to different ideologies, we're really going to start to see great learning and an excitement about what it is we don't know so that we can start to embrace and challenge and grow as individuals and professionals, as well as a community. And we're no longer worried about people finding out what it is that we don't know. And we're no longer worried about being surprised by what we don't know. We are encouraged and excited when we come across something that we didn't know that we didn't know. I hope this has been helpful. I'm sure it has been challenging. On that note, peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day.